Congressman, I do have a question, and I asked this of Rick Schneider when he was sitting in that chair. Preface this question by saying I'm impressed with the fact that you've gone out and you are actually doing people's jobs to get a feel for what everyone's going through. That being said, as a small business owner, one of the things that we're getting avalanched under is taxes, that it gets to a point where we feel like we wake up in the morning and we're going to work for the government just to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
And the big issue is unemployment taxes. Because of the transfer between the state and federal government, what's left in Michigan, small businesses, have to pick up that slack, and our taxes for unemployment is unbelievable.
Right.
How are you going to help us fix that?
Well, whether it's the taxes, for unemployment, whether it's a business tax or income taxes or property taxes or personal property tax, the bottom line, people in Michigan are overtaxed. And what we've done is we've created an economic climate where we've been unable to grow jobs. So the burden and the cost of government continues to pile on a smaller and smaller set of people and businesses who are actually generating income and creating business in this state. So you got to go back and you got to increase economic activity. And the way you're going to create economic activity is, number one, you got to get bureaucracy out of the way. I can't tell you the number of small business people that I've met with over the last year who do have aspirations and dreams for growing businesses. And the state seems to always find a way to get in their way. Mm-hmm. The second thing that you find is the state still spends too much, meaning that people have to pay too much in taxes. And then we have one of the worst tax codes in the country. If you focus on those three things, getting bureaucracy out of the way, cutting government spending, and reforming the tax code, we will create more economic activity, meaning that there will be more people who are working and more small businesses in place who can share the cost of government and reduce the burden for you.
Right. That's exactly correct.
All right, we have about 50 seconds left.
You can say that again if you'd like.
That's exactly.
And, kind of put in front of that Pete, Pete Hoekstra, candidate for governor. That's exactly right. But
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to extend an invitation for you to come to Doty Mechanical on your quest for the 100 jobs. You could ride with one of our service technicians, and I think you'd get another perspective.
Okay, that'd be great.
Too, on the day-to-day.
We'll make a note.
A recent survey I saw lists out right to work. The right to work states that have the right to work rules says here has in recent time has had an 18.1% increase, whereas states without it is only 13.6, and they're putting Michigan at only a 3.4% growth increase. This is a year old,
sure.
So obviously because of today's economy. However, the bigger broad question, something that really hits to the heart of small business, is right to work. I believe that you came out in the last debate talking about that, and I guess I'd like you to expand on that.
Yeah, no, I mean there's been a lot of discussion on right to work. I've taken a look at what I think needs to be what we need to focus on as getting Michigan moving again, and what's doable and what's necessary and essential. I think you focus like a laser on getting government out of the way with bureaucracy, spending, and taxes. That's a huge job to get those three things done. And you're going to need a cooperative experience. You're going to have a cooperative environment to make those things happen. Right now, private sector unions will work with you to reduce the size and the scope of state government because they recognize that it's hurting their environment. And a lot of private sector unions have gone through making the sacrifices necessary for them to keep their jobs. I firmly believe that if you put right to work as the number one thing on your agenda, you are going to create an environment in Lansing that is going to be hostile, divisive, and ineffective. Sound familiar? It's kind of like where we've been for 8 years. We haven't gotten the things done. Michigan is ground zero for the labor movement, and if you say, we're going to do right to work as our number one focus, what's going to happen, you're going to get into office on January 1. You're going to have all-out war between organized labor, the business community. Sound familiar? Why doesn't capital come to Michigan? Because they think we can't get along and can't get anything done. You're then going to go through this, and maybe in 18 months you will have a referendum on the ballot, and I believe at that point in time you'll still lose. So while, I've been favorable towards right to work, I'm just saying it's not going to – I don't believe that it is the place to focus on to get things done and to get Michigan moving again. Because even if you get right to work passed, but you still got a lousy environment, you still got all the bureaucracy in place, and you're still spending too much, you're not going to bring growth in. And, so I think anybody who believes that there's a single magic bullet out there to fix this economy in Michigan, I think is wrong. Right to work could be part of a solution. I think the other things are more important, are more achievable, and will have more of an impact in doing what small businesses and the people of Michigan want. Get our economy moving again. So I'm not fundamentally opposed to it. I'm just saying it's not going to be the linchpin of my economic strategy.
Bob, did you have a follow-up? Or should we move on?
Actually, kind of tying in, and this would be a good spot to bring it in. It actually comes in from a listener. Basically, it talks about he's listened. You, excuse me. You have the great ideas. He wants to know specifically what are your ideas. How are you going to cut through the red tape? There is such a bureaucracy, red tape, everything at the governmental level.
Yeah. Well, we've had fun and experience doing this in Washington. A friend of mine and I, we used to walk over to the Department of Education. And we'd walk in, and they've got security, and we'd show them our little voting cards, our IDs, and they'd say, well, who are you here to see? And we'd say, nobody. We just want to walk through the halls and ask people what they do. They said, well, let us call the 7th floor, which is where the Secretary of Education said, no, we just want to come in and we want to walk around. We're members of
General
Congress.
people.
We're on the Education Committee, and we have a right to just come in and talk to people. Actually, what I want to do is I wanted to find the people who read the reports that came from Holland, Michigan, that went to the Education Department. Do you read the reports that come from Michigan? What value? We've never found them. You do the same thing here. When a small business comes in and says, hey, Pete, we are having a horrendous time getting our liquor license approved, or we're having a horrendous time with this or that. You just go to the Liquor Control Commission and you walk in and say, hey, so-and-so called, and they say it's going to take 7 months to get our liquor license transferred. Who's working on that? Oh, it's Judy in the back? Great. Can I talk to Judy for a few minutes? What's the problem here? Judy, is it you're too busy? Is the paperwork just too exhaustive or what? Why is it taking 7 months? Or the couple that wanted to convert the Masonic Temple and a lodge in Spring Lake and went to the administrative law judge to get some variances, and the administrative law judge said, no, it's your problem, not mine. Because they said, this is the difference between us doing this project. Just go and meet with them and say, you said you weren't going to give any variances. Why is that? You just stopped a construction project. You stopped rehabilitation of an old building. Go in and start creating an attitude that says, as a bureaucrat, you work for the people of Michigan. Right. And if you're putting people in Michigan out of work, you will share in the sacrifice and the pain that they have, because state workers can't be doing well if the state's not doing well. On the flip side, I think people in Michigan are more than willing to say, if the state's working great and the state's booming, we're willing to share that with the state employees.
Absolutely.
We will continue.
Wow,
Pete Hoekstra,
that was quick.
Candidate for governor. Goes fast.
Yeah.
Back in a flash.
Yeah.